Hey there traders, thanks for joining me for this video. I just wanted to recap the very small handful of trades that I took last week at thestockbandit.com. Monday, the market was closed for President's Day. I was also in New York City for a few days in the first half of the week, and so I spoke up there on Tuesday at the Traders Expo and at a trading floor up there as well, and then was traveling on Wednesday, so I did not trade on Tuesday or Wednesday. I did share some setups with subscribers, but I did not point out any actual trades for those days since I wasn't trading. So the only 2 days that I traded this week were Thursday and Friday. Now, just wanted to walk you through those setups and the plays and how they behaved, just so you can get a feel for how the week was. And I will say that the weeks where I get more trade signals, more entries, the better those weeks tend to be, because my technical edge has a little bit larger sample size to play out, and that's really the whole idea. It's not about over trading, but it is about putting your edge at work as many times as possible. So when you have a greatly reduced trading week, the way that I did, where I was only taking a very small handful of trades, obviously it places a real high level of importance on your accuracy, and for me that's just not a big part of my trading style. I'm really prone to getting stopped out of a number of trades, all because my style hinges on taking more trades and letting those winners really play out in such a way that they can really cover those losses, the small losses that I take. But nonetheless, here we go. Last week, on Thursday, I bought this Celgene through this descending trend line here. Stock had been acting pretty well. I wanted to get long through this 75 area. So on Thursday, that's this bar right here, it started to head higher, didn't make much progress, and never did stop me out, never moved enough to book a profit. So I just closed this one out at the closing bell. It was down 9 cents from my entry, so we'll pretty much just kind of call that a tiny loss and or nearly a break-even trade for Celgene. Also on Thursday, I took this John Deere. Was looking for this small bounce attempt to produce another move lower. So see, we had this failed breakout in John Deere a couple of weeks ago. Stock then reversed sharply lower, had this real lazy bounce back up, and looked like it was going to head back south again, which it did ultimately Thursday and Friday. But I thought that the initial break of this trend line would produce a little bit better move than it actually did. So I went short as this trend line was broken on Thursday, 83.75, and here again, this thing never made enough progress, or did it move, nor did it move against me enough to really stop me out. So never got stopped, never had an opportunity to book a decent gain, and ultimately closed this at the closing bell for a very tiny 35-cent loss. So again, about less than 0.5% loss there. And generally my day trades, I give them 1%, so very tiny loss there. On Friday, I took this TEN long through this descending trend line, and this thing started to go. It went about 1% higher, but kind of hesitated up in this little area right here, where we saw obviously the prior Friday and then Tuesday of this past week. The stock stalled at that same little area, reversed lower, stopped me out for a 1% loss of 40 cents. And then I also took this Caterpillar, which had been acting really well. It had just recently cleared this 115 level and then held above that. So prior resistance had turned into support. And what I wanted to do was get long on a breakout of this little multi-day consolidation. So wanted to get long through the 116.50. And here again, this thing just, Friday we had such a narrow range day in the overall market that trades just didn't have much momentum or much opportunity to make their move. So this thing never did stop me out. I ultimately just closed it out at the closing bell for a 60-cent loss. Again, 60 cents on a $116 stock, pretty tiny loss. So we're again looking at about a 0.5% loss, real tiny loss. Now the one swing trade that I did close out last week was in this RCL, and I had taken this on a breakout the previous week through this descending trend line. So the stock had left this, or cleared this long-standing descending trend line here several weeks ago, and then really kind of pulled back and tested that area and held. It lifted again and then pulled back. So this thing was starting to kind of establish, you know, some higher lows here and look poised for some continuation higher if it could clear this short-term trend line, which it started to do, but it found no follow-through. And so ultimately I had a stop right in here for a multi-day low just beneath this short-term consolidation. I was taken out of that trade on Wednesday for a 3.7% loss. So again, for a swing trade, stock did move lower from there into the end of the week. So I'm just going to leave it alone for now. Overall, the trend remains up here, but the day-to-day action is pretty sloppy. So I booked a manageable loss in this one. I've still got 2 swing positions open that, again, I will cover here once those positions are closed out. But for now, I'm just discussing them with subscribers in the member area. So next week, I'm looking forward to a 5-day trading week. I'm looking forward to taking more setups. This market is really not rewarding breakout styles of plays. You really need to be buying the dips and pullback types of setups, as the dips are being bought with much more aggression than breakouts. So definitely be mindful of that as we head into this next week. Thanks for joining me for this video. I will have more for you soon, but until then, trade like a bandit.